Hi, I'm reading a segment from a book that has brought me great relief in my life. It's by Beattie, and it is called, I'm looking for the title page, The New Codependency. I've actually read almost all of her books about codependency, as it was a reoccurring theme in my first marriage, my only marriage, and my relationship with my parents. And this one is, so she wrote one, Codependent No More, which was wonderful, and I started with that. And then this one is The New Codependency, and I recommend you just jump in here if what I'm about to read rings a bell with you, or if you're in any relationships where you tell yourself that you're responsible for the other person's happiness or for how they feel, or telling yourself you need to act a certain way so someone feels a certain way. She's the author for you, Beattie. So let me jump in. This is called Crossing the Line. There's a difference between taking responsible actions to solve a problem and controlling. When do we cross that line? We each need to decide that for ourselves. We need to know we've done everything we could before we surrender. I'm going to pause right here because this is something I know that when I was going through deciding whether to ask my ex for a divorce or not, I got to one counselor and she said, "Susie, do you feel like you've done everything you could?" And I took a deep, hard look inside of myself, and this is after probably, I think, 4 marriage therapists and maybe 7 years of therapy on my own, and I had to say, no, you know what, there's one more therapist I want to try. And when I did try that other therapist and he quit us, I then was able to say, I've done everything I could. And I really credit that therapist and myself for going. I've never had doubts about whether divorce was the right thing for me or not, because I truly did get to that point that Beattie is talking about here, is that we need to know we've done everything we can before we surrender. And in surrendering to the state of my marriage and moving forward in my life, I could do that without guilt and without problems, because I really had done everything I could do. And so she goes on, I knew I had done everything I could. Nobody and nothing could make my son, so she talks a little bit, her son had a bad accident and died. And so she said, nobody could make my son breathe again. I had called everyone I knew, from the best neurosurgeons to the best consulting ministers, healers, and holy men, and nobody and nothing could make my son breathe on his own. But still, some nights I lay awake in bed wondering, is there something more I could have done? We each need to decide when we've crossed the line from responsible problem solving to control, and then get back on the other side of that line. Feel the feelings underneath the controlling, then surrender to it, whatever it is. Let go and detach in love. The more impossible it feels to surrender, the more important surrendering is. We can learn to live each moment from that surrendered place. With our hair rubbed off and our aching joints, we'll be more full of joy and peace than we were before all those things that happened to make us sad and make us think that we had to control to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe. Just as controlling is an action and an attitude, so are surrendering and letting go. Control makes us feel tense, rigid, and uncomfortable inside. Control causes anxiety because you can't control another person. Resignation makes us feel hopeless. Cold detachment makes us bitter, mean, uncaring, insensitive, and callous. It closes our hearts. True surrender and detaching in love brings perfect peace. Life will take us there by sending us whatever experiences we need. The funny and miraculous thing is, even if we don't tell people we're letting go, they can feel it. They can feel our control gestures too. Control pushes people away. People can feel how good it feels, how free they feel, how much nicer it is to be around us when we've stopped trying to control them and we just let them be free. The problem with trying to control addicts and drunks is that when we try to control them, they use it as an excuse to drink more. While we're aware that they're drinking and using drugs because they have a disease, they don't know it yet. Or if they do, for whatever reasons, they aren't ready to get sober and clean. If we stop trying to control them, we take away the excuse that we're nagging. And who wouldn't want to drink or use drugs if they were around someone like that? Letting go in love doesn't guarantee that someone will get sober, but it does give them a better chance. It's like releasing a fish from the hook and letting it swim free. When we stop controlling others and setting people free, we get our freedom back too. Sometimes detaching in love is all we need to do. Then people admit they have a problem and ask for help. But we shouldn't detach for that reason. And this is Susie again here talking, because that didn't work in my case. I did detach. I felt great peace. But the people didn't change. It doesn't change my experience. I still have peace. They can do what they want to do. I have stopped trying to control them. So we shouldn't detach for that reason. Otherwise, detaching is controlling. We're not really letting go. Some alcoholics and addicts don't ever get clean and sober no matter what we do. One man drank horribly, even antifreeze, when he couldn't get alcohol. He lived to be 79 and barely drew a sober breath most of his life. After his funeral, all his ex-wife said is, "I told him drinking would kill him someday." There's no way to predict who will recover from addictions and who won't. There's no way to predict who's going to recover from most other illnesses either, mental also. Doctors and counselors are regularly surprised at who makes it and who doesn't. We are not here to control life. We are here to live it. Let me repeat that, because I love that. We are not here to control life. We are not here to control others. We are not here to control our kids. We are not here to control our spouses, our parents, or our partners. We are here to live life, our life. And the more we live our life and let others do what they're gonna do, no matter how hard we try to make them do something else, you can't control someone else's actions. I can barely control my own. So no matter, the more we just focus in on ourselves and our lives, the more peaceful we'll be, and we just live our life. Life and the people sent to us, the people we love, are gifts. Love people for who they are. Let yourself be you. Feel whatever you feel. Do the work for the sake of work instead of for the results you hope to get. When you let go of control, you bring joy back into relationships, back into your work, and back into life. Surrendering isn't something we do. It happens to us. Get out of the control trap. It's an illusion. We can't control them anyhow. Get some grace instead. That's as good as it gets. So I love this woman's work, and she has activities in this chapter. It's great stuff. So if you're interested, please get the book, or please contact me and I can work more with you on this.